Hello everyone, all of my friends here on YouTube. Thank you very much for coming to this painting of the Savior, or as Anna called it, if you wanted to call it a wanderer, it can also work. But as for me, I will just refer him as the Savior throughout this painting. And the reason why I do this painting is because we have a get together to paint along with me, with my sisters in my ward. I call them sisters, and so that's what I will refer to them once a while. And so I know that some of you had always wanted to try a human figure, and so I thought, Anna is the one that my friend Anna in the ward, as she in my church unit, I always say call the ward, and you guys don't know what ward means probably. In the church unit, she said we wanted to paint one of this for one of the Relief Society activity, and so she really wanted to paint Jesus Christ, and so I come up with this. What I did is I have a picture, and I follow that picture, and what I do is I actually, in the picture, his arm was down. Now this is not his elbow, it's actually, I'm like trying very hard to make sure that, it kind of droop and go up, right? This is actually the, because if it is his elbow, it should be right here. And so I cut off the other arm and then try to bend it so he can be holding a staff. And I also changed the feet area. I do that a lot, you guys know that. I use reference picture, and then I do it for my own reference, and I cut thing and paste thing myself, so it's original, my design. And so all of and a drawing of this, a line drawing with the shadow part, where I would like you guys to do is on my you guys can find it, the drawing, sunsetpeony.com. That's my blog, and just go find this post and you get the line drawing. And I will go through, of course, like usual, the details with you, and the background. We kind of do that quickly, and so it takes about an hour, of filming time. But you guys should really enjoy it, and just don't worry about it. Take your time, pause the video. Isn't that wonderful that we can do that? And just do it, like what you wanted, so that you could understand what's happening. And I am very fussy. I just want his tendril over here to be a little bit more, so I'm just adding it over there. I do that quite a bit, and you guys, thank you for putting up with me. And and the brush that I use are these, right? They're all in my, of course I'll talk about it. The flow brush is mainly the body of the painting, and then I have the zero brush for those of you who are actually my YouTube people, and I do the background with the happy dots. And but the disadvantage for the sisters is they wouldn't have these brushes, and they will have to use what I can round up and Anna can round up for them, but that will be fine. It will all be good. And and I think that I might have used this a little bit, this Jackson number 6, okay? And so anyway, and so if you guys like that, come and follow along. And if you wanted to do something else in my channel, there are plenty of flowers you can do, right? And so I'm gonna sign this painting with my name, and I think that's all I wanted to talk about. I can't really think of anything, and so I'll talk less and let's get started, okay? Thank you. Okay. Wow, my voice, ever since COVID, it still hasn't improved yet, but that's okay. That's okay. I'm sure you guys can hear me. Okay, now let's get started, and I will explain a little bit, okay? Now, if you look at this, the hair of the Savior, or the Wanderer, however you wanted to call him, you can see that there's a starburst over here, like some line that looked like it's a starburst that I put it on the drawing. Okay, what that is actually the highlight from the sun shining from this area, okay? And I'll show you how we can use that. I thought about it as I was preparing that is necessary for us to do the hair, okay? And so that is the little bit, and you know me, I like to take the eraser, you know, this is the eraser, and you can find that on my blog. There's a product list. You know, I get this and then I cut them, because for some reason after they round the corner they don't perform as well, so I cut them. My husband did that for me. Okay, let's get started. And I think what we're gonna do is, let's start with the sepia, okay? And I might just, because today I'm talking to the general people that follow me on YouTube here, and my church friends that are going to have the you know, playing along with me. And so I will call them my sisters, because that's what I like to do. And so I might just kind of go back and forth, and if you're wondering who I'm talking about when I say sisters. Okay, now we really need to get started. Okay, now so as for the brush, okay, I'll explain that a little bit more this time. And that is when we, you know, what we do is we try to clean the brush, okay? We make it really clean with our water bowl over here. And then this is how we dry it, okay? We just dry it, just kind of dab it on the paper, so it's still wet. You can still, you know, have, but not soaking, not dripping wet, okay? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here and wet the hair area of the Savior. And I will probably call him the Savior the whole time, because that's easier for me when I kick into that mode of the subconscious. You know, I don't have to think about that a lot. Okay, now what I'm going to tell you is today Utah is very, very dry. Okay, so this will dry faster, and I will just see, okay, what I can do. And so and just explain to you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dip into the sepia ink, sepia watercolor paste, or whatever the tube that I have, okay? And then I will come over here. Now the reason I start from the shoulder area is because that will be the darkest area. So as we go up, we push this color up. And it's very good, you know, for us as we are painting. A lot of people I understand, you know, it's you know, kind of, so I just dip more of the watercolor. It's a little bit intimidating, you would think, but my theory or my the only way that I can explain this is, you know, try not to be too when this is still wet, you can still pile on some more watercolor paint on it, okay? And try not to be trying to look at the detail too much, okay? And just, I'll show you, you'll see, okay? You'll see what I'm talking about in a second. Okay, so we are gonna continue dipping some more ink. If there's, now, because I just put a layer of water, right? Or a layer wet the hair area, so you, as we put this watercolor paint on, then of course it will dilute, and when it dry, it will dilute even more. And so, but we don't worry about that, okay? We just keep going, and I will, if I can talk about that, I will in a minute. We just keep, you know, hoping that this is wet, but you know, I can tell this is already dry. But I keep going. Okay, just keep going and follow, and don't go into the starburst area. We need to leave them white, so it will look like it is. It will look like it is the highlight. Okay, and then I'll show you really quick right now. We're gonna get into that. Okay, am I happy? Yes, I'm actually quite happy. But you know, the reason why I'm, you know, putting a little more, because I think that the area is still wet. So I just want to add a little bit more pigment. Now, you don't really have to do that if you're a little bit nervous about, you know, putting the pigment and trying to gauge if the area is still wet or dry, okay? Now, you can see right now is what we call the ugly face, okay? Because, you know, it looked blotchy, but we will fix that when we come in on the second layer. Now, in this starburst area, I don't want the line to be so sharp, okay? So I clean my brush, okay? I clean my brush on my cup of water, and then I come in and dry that. And this needs to be quite dry, okay? And then I come over and slightly soften the edge. That's what I'm doing, okay? Slightly soften the edge. And if some of the pigment go into this starburst area, I plan on that happening, because that will happen because of the sepia. And that will be okay too, okay? Now, why do I, explain that quite a lot, right? Why do I leave that, area look like his ball, but he's not, and we're trying to not make him look like his ball, but with that white area, because it will create the form, so the head doesn't look like a flat piece of head. It will make it a little bit roundish, more like a oval hair, okay? So it's like more dark down here and lighter over here, okay? Now, we have touched it enough, and so now, even though, it might look like it's blotchy, we leave it. Because if you keep working on it, then you will tear the paper or soften the paper somehow, and that will not be good. And today I'm going to, leaving it, what I mean is we will go on to a different area, okay? So in order not to touch this area while this is drying, we'll go on to the staff. How's that? The staff or this pole that he is using. And my husband actually was able to tell me, Kathy, it is a little too long. It looks really heavy, and make him look shorter. So I have shortened it. Okay, I'll go back the same way, okay? Just clean up your brush, okay? Clean up your brush on your little pot of paper. A little pot of water, and then come and dip some sepia ink on the tip of your brush. And then we're going to do the staff. Now, because the sun is coming on this area, so we're doing the same thing. Okay, we're doing the bottom and the side, and then pull the, let's see if the bottom is the bottom on the screen. Oh wow, I'm so glad I looked and push it. Okay, and then pull the color out. Okay, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, and so we put, and you can see that the pigment is quite intense. Okay, now we can do this by stages too. It wouldn't affect it too much, okay? By stages, I mean, we don't have to do the whole thing. Now I'm going to just lay down the pigment on the side, on the area where it's darker, where we know that it's darker, and then I go clean my brush. Now clean brush, okay? And then with the clean brush and dab it dry, I'm gonna pull this sepia color out. Pull that color out from the pigment to the white area. And so the reason why I'm doing that is the same thing, okay? I'm going to try to work the form. And you can see that I'm leaving some part of it actually white, because when the sun shines on it, we can pretty much be sure that there is area that is kind of like a highlight, and it's pretty when we do that. Now I dip some more pigment. It's the pigment of the sepia ink. And then I'm going to add that on the edge again, okay? And this is still wet, and I'm trying to intensify that area, the darkness area, okay? All right, and then now I'm going to, the line is too sharp, right? I'm going to clean the brush again and pull the color out a little bit again. Okay, I'm just gonna do that the first time and now the second time, and sometime randomly on the edge I will come in and put, you can see that I'm just kind of put the line there. You can just randomly do it at different spot, okay? And then, now that's good. I think that looked like a cylinder, because a staff like a walking stick is a cylinder, right? And so we're going to, don't worry about if this is still a little bit wet, okay? We're gonna do the part where it goes all the way to the bottom part of his hand. Okay, now if you say that, oh, this look darker, we can always come back and darken this part if you wanted to, but usually I don't. And now we clean the brush. Now no more pigment, okay? We're gonna pull this out, pull the color out from the pigment, okay? And thus we can accomplish the effect. And the nice thing is I'm using my imagination, right? And I thought Christ maybe had his staff, or maybe he's just picked up this long stick from the road while he's traveling to help him, like today the hiker, right? So it doesn't have to be like doesn't. It's a stick from a tree, so it's not perfect. So we don't have to worry about perfect. It can be curved out a little bit and you know, come in a little bit. And so what that does is it make it easier for us, right? We don't need to paint a perfect stick. Okay, now clean brush, and dab it dry. I have a towel next to me actually that I dab it dry, so I use this just for demonstration for you guys. And then we pull this out, pull the color out and soften that edge, okay? The softening of the edge is a very important technique that we learn. And the more you paint, the more you practice, or you can just, like, you know, practice softening of the edge, okay? And I just put a big block over there, which is fine too. You know, and I'll tell you I meant to do that. And maybe it could be a mistake, I don't know. And then we're gonna put this, you know, make sure that this area is kind of jaggedy, like that, okay? So we have that area, and then now we're gonna let it dry. Okay, now we're gonna quickly, right? You can see how quick this actually can go because we don't try to fuss over things, okay? Now when I designed this, I look at a picture of, I guess a person that I actually look a lot at the James Tissot, The Life of Christ is a book that my husband got me from BYU when James Tissot's painting come to the museum, and I love it so much that we bought, James said that we have to buy a copy, okay? And so now what this is now we're going on to the rope part, and we're just going to paint shadows. Okay, now over here we have to pay a little bit attention because I know that the sun is still coming from this area, right? So it will be good to let the shoulder area not be too dark over here, okay? There's a little bit of white that we need to leave them out. You just have to follow me. And so what? Same thing, we clean the brush and go pick up the Payne's gray. Now, what I like to do is I like to dip it in a little bit of indigo or royal blue, whatever color you have, okay? And if you are, you know, the sisters in my church, you don't have to worry. I will have all the color there ready, and then you can, you know, now I believe that I have, this is a little bit heavy-handed, okay? On the indigo or the royal blue. Actually, I think I was dipping on the royal blue. Okay, so I dip some more sepia, some more Payne's gray, and put it there, tone down the blue tone, okay? But some of the shadow today, I kind of like it to be a little bit blue, just a slight blue. And all these places, which is the fold of the fabric, right? I will have that all drawn out on the paper, so that you guys don't have to worry about thinking about where you can, you know, where the fold start or end, because I think, you know, that could be a little bit confusing. And the way I do it today is you can see that I put some of the pigment here, and then I'm going to come soften it so that you can see that this area is whiter, and then I go down and pick up a little bit of the shadow, okay? So all I did is sepia, and if you want to drop a little bit blue, you say it's too, then you can do that too while it's a little bit wet, or we can actually come back when it's dry. Okay, so I want this area to be kind of sun-kissed and with nothing, actually no shadow color, okay? And then there should be a big fold over here. So what I did is I had like that picture of the, I think it was meant to be the Savior, and I just kind of pick and choose what shadow I wanted to put in. And so not a lot to make this a little bit easier on everyone, okay? Now I put that, it's a very, very light tone of sepia, so I'm going to use my brush and dip a little bit more of the sepia and put it on the fold, okay? And in a minute, if I have the chance, I will actually, now you can see that not very much paint at all, okay? Now this starburst over here, we're gonna come back and kind of play with it, right? We're gonna do the same thing over here, but kind of in a reverse order, okay? And so what I'm going to do is, because of the way he bent his arm, so you usually create some kind of folding of the garment, right? And so we're doing that. And you say, wow, that's very intense. And that's when we do the softening, okay? We get the clean brush and soften it. Now you can see that I'm talking while I'm explaining what I'm doing, but when you're doing this, when you're trying to pull color out, it's best that you can do it as fast as possible. Okay, I want there should be a little bit of shadow area right there. And so what I'm gonna do is gonna pick that up and then just put it there. Just a little bit of the sepia tone, okay? Not sepia, sorry, I keep going for sepia. This is sepia, this is Payne's gray. And then I'm going to do the same thing, get a little Payne's gray, and there should be a little bit of a shadow over here too. These are all the fold of the garment. And I will explain, I think I might as well do it now, okay? Now, let's pick over here, okay? Now, when there's a fold, when a garment, I will just use the tissue paper to show it. It will be very obvious to you. When there's a fold and it rolls over, okay, this part is very dark, right here. And there should be kind of like a sharper line. But when the shadow is just rolling means there's no folding over, it's just rolling shadow, then the shadow is very soft. There's not a lot of harsh line, okay? And so that's what we have to keep in mind. And that's it that we have to learn. So you can see that over here, there is a rolling line. That means what I'm trying to portray is this piece of fabric is actually roll over and set on top of this area. Okay, we'll do that one more time over here, okay, to show you. Okay, so there is a sharp line over here and there's a sharp line over here. Okay, so it means that there's a divot that is like a ravine, you know, that go into. Now soften this color and pull it out. Pull it out, okay? And if this area is not dark enough, you can always get a little bit more of the sepia pigment and just drop it in there while it's still wet. Okay, and that is enough. And I'm going to get another shadow, but let's do a rolling fabrics kind of shadow over here. Okay, so a lighter tone of that Payne's gray. Okay, and we're trying to like do this. So this part also, I pretend that there will be some sun that go on here, that go onto this part of his shoulder. And so we're gonna soften this area right here. So it's just a soft shadow, not a lot of harsh line, okay? There could be some harsh line, but we're not going to do that. So this is just actually, I clean the brush, and so this brush is actually very clean. And come back over here and then let that part be white, just like over there, okay? And so this is not as harsh as this one, right? But it's more like this area. And so let's, I'm just following my original practice. I don't have that painting with me. Actually, Anna has it. And for my YouTube friends that are not in my church unit here, Anna is one of our friends that she suggested, she had asked me to do this, so she took my painting. She took my painting and used it to, I guess, to tell the sisters to sign up. And so I don't want this to be too much of a fold, so I come over here with a clean brush, right? And then just kind of wipe over that, okay? And so there's some shadow over here, but not too harsh. And I wanted that shadow to be a little more intense because as this person, as Christ, as the Savior, you know, he's not, this part of his body is not facing the sun so much, right? And so it needed to have a little bit more of a shadow. So I'm, bringing the Payne's gray in, and then I soften it again. Now, sometimes when we do watercolor, it kind of go out of the line, right? I don't let that bother us, okay? Don't worry about it, it's fine. Okay, and then, so this part need to be darker than this part over here. But underneath the arm will go over there. Now, it looks like I wanted to have another fold of fabric over here. And so, you know, from following that original photograph, right? I can't show you the original photograph because, you know, copyright. I don't know who took the photograph, but I use it as a reference, and I'll tell you what I did, okay? Now, when his back leg over here, okay, is sticking out, and so what we will do is we let the shadow, let his garment have a little bit of a shadow over this way. So it looks like, you know, he, because of his walking, he created a little bit of a shadow right there. You know, when we walk, of course, we roll our garments, right? Here and there, so many different directions. But so what I did here today is I'm doing the minimal around amount of, you know, garment fold and shadow, so that it will look like we can see that. We can see that the this person is, okay, I needed to have one shadow over there. This person is walking, and the garment really will show the movement of the person, okay? So there need to be something over here and some shadow over this side. As I was saying, that this part need to be a little bit darker because it's away from the light. Okay, so I make a little shadow, and then I pull out I use a clean brush and pull out this area also, okay? You know, so you know, I'm doing nothing different than from here. Just lay down the pigment and then clean the brush. Clean the brush and then pull out the color. Okay, I'm just looking at my reference, okay? And I want a little bit of a shadow down here. Now all these shadow, you know, because I'm with my sisters, you know, so they can ask me, and I can show them, oh, maybe we should add some over here and there, and that's the advantage they have over just learning from YouTube, right? But I think that, you know, as you gain more experience, you know, we don't worry about those kind of things too much. But I know that it will be good to ask me, to be able to ask me questions, you know, as we paint. So I thought, man, I'm going to do this, so I might as well have this available to, you know, all of the people that follow me on YouTube. I think that will be very nice, and I'm going to put some shadow over here. Make sure that this part is not as dark as that, okay? So what I did is I put some pigment on it, and I'm going to just almost use that pigment and created the shadow here, okay? But just keep in mind that it needs to be more intense. When we say more intense, we're actually talking about the value. And this area needs to be a little bit darker, okay? And a little bit lighter over here. But I will, you know, since I think that with this painting, there will be a lot of like really fresh people that are not quite familiar with all those terms. So I'll just use intensity. I think everybody understands what intensity means, right? And so now we're going into this area. Okay, from over here, where the fabric kind of draped down, we also need to put a shadow, okay? A very light shadow, because you know, this will help us to make the form, make his arm look more rounded, instead of just like a, oh, did I get out of the filming? Okay, instead of just a rectangle, okay? So the purpose of doing this, put a shadow over here, is to make this look more like a tube instead of a rectangle. Okay, and so we don't, you know, we will just do our best, you know, do that over there, okay, and just let it dry, okay? Let's come over this side, and there is, because of the placement of his arm, right, there should be a fold, and in the picture there is a fold right here. So we are going to come over here and do a fold. of this garment. Okay, so I just put some pigment there, clean the brush, and pull and soften the side, over this side. And then there should be a fold right there, right? You know, people's garment doesn't used to fit them like a tailor that we have today. And so, you know, I make this intentionally to have the garment drip down off his shoulder, just to show that fact that, you know, yeah, people in the ancient day are not as tailored their clothing as what we do today. Okay, and just have some shadow here and there, okay? And then I wanted to have a little bit of shadow. If I put a shadow here and shadow here, then it make the arm kind of show up, and that is what actually happened. Okay, so I'm going to come over here on the separation between the back part of his garment, and then you can see the arm right there, right? It's underneath that, and then we can pull this out, pull the color out, and I'm going to intensify this area. Okay, now you can see that, well, it's because this is my, how many time, I think second time, maybe, you know, with some other practice, and so I can go a little bit faster, you know, because I have practice. And but for you guys, just take your time, there's no reason to rush. Okay, and you can see that in that part is sticking out a little bit. Okay, and I'm going to put a shadow right underneath this arm of the garment too. Okay, the shadow right there. As this arm may be casting a shadow onto the garment. Okay, and intensify that a little bit, just a little bit, and soften this area. But yes, like I'm just trying to say that you guys take your time, don't have to go as fast as I do. You know, I'm trying to go as slow as I can so that I can explain at the same time, right? But I'm always constrained by the editing of the videos, so there's really not that much time and a lot of gigabyte. Okay, here's a shadow right there. Okay, so what I'm trying to convey is, you know, his hip area, right? And so I need a little bit more shadow coming out here, and when I do that, then you know, put some shadow here, then the hip will kind of show. Okay, so I think his hip should be somewhere around here, and so I will, yeah, I'll put some shadow right, you know, this is like really easy shadow, just right there. Okay, I just put some pigment on, very light pigment, and then I come and soften it. Now this is what kind of brush? It's a real, I don't know what the Chinese does. I'm using my Chinese brush, you know, but if you use a synthetic brush, and sometime, you know, when you are trying to soften the area, it might be actually a little bit easier to do. Okay, now so let me look at my, since I told you that I don't have my original practice, Anna has it, and so I need to come and look and see, okay, am I, like, I think all the shadow are pretty much done. We have one shadow over here. Maybe I will darken it. I only have a picture, so I'm going with my practice picture on my phone. I just put some pigment here on this shadowy part, because I'm looking at it and comparing with the different intensity, which is value, and I realized that I needed to put some here. And let's see, okay, maybe I will intensify this part of the shadow a little bit more. Okay, and then that will be enough, and we're gonna go and pick up some more pigment, you know, use the same brush and clean it, and maybe just kind of go over here and intensify it a little bit. Okay, just like that. Okay, and then, you know, so it just try to so I'm going to put a little bit of shadow over here so that this side of his body is actually darker. Okay, darker than this side, and that will make his body round. which is no difference than doing the sticks over here, right? Because the stick is darker on this side, and so I'm trying to make this darker so that his body will be more rounded instead of a rectangle. Okay, now so we're gonna leave that alone for now. Okay, and so let's work on the hand area. Now because this is you know, I can pretty much probably use the same paintbrush, but for your sake, I think you might want to change it to a smaller one, but you don't have to. Just make sure that it's dry and don't pick up too much pigment. Now what I'm going to do is like clean that brush, and I'm going to the burnt sienna. Okay, burnt sienna. Oh, there's a little drop of water over there. Okay, and then I'm going to come over here and follow my drawing, okay, and my own drawing, and I'm going to put some pigment. Now I'm assuming that this part is darker, okay, so I'm going to start with this side first, okay, and then it looked like a very, very tan savior, right? So we're gonna put, you can see as we pull out this color, you know, pull the color out, but we kind of need to do it a little bit fast, okay? Go on the thumb, but not too fast, okay? And then go, actually, not fast at all. And then go over here and just use the pigment that we put down here and then pull the color out, okay? Now, actually, that actually looked like a human flesh, but if you are very picky about things, you can pick up a little bit of red color, whatever you have, or pink color, and then put it and then drop it on there. It hardly make that much difference, okay? Now we're gonna leave that and don't worry about it. They need to dry. And then we're gonna do this hand right here that's holding the staff. Same thing, I'm gonna go pick up the burnt sienna with the brush, okay? And then I know that this part needs to be darker right here, right? Because he's holding the staff right here, and the sun probably will block him, his hand, and the sun will be coming over this side, right? So I'm gonna actually erase some more of the pencil drawing, okay? Okay, now at this point, I will clean the brush, okay? Clean the brush, dab it dry, and then pull the color out, because as it moves towards the sun, then we kind of wanted to leave some sun-kissed area over here, right? And so now this arm also need to, this little hand also need to dry. And maybe I can, now this is just because I'm me, you know, maybe put a little bit more of the burnt sienna, but I would advise you not to do that. And I'm doing that. Oh, now, you know, you can you also let me turn this off and turn it back. I had to film in 30-minute segment, and so it's easier for the computer to deal with it. I don't know why. And so you can see that I am just putting a shape and a form of the hand. I'm not putting the finger, because this painting is not really that big that we're doing. It's easier on us. So I find that is, you know, you really need to get the form right. So for those of you who is going to get this drawing from my blog, you need to make sure you do that. Get the form right, and be a little bit more careful when you are copying. But for the sisters, you guys will have a drawing that's already done by me, so that will make it easier. Okay, now let's do his so I have decided just let him go barefoot, okay, because bare feet, because it will be easier on us, that we don't have to deal with the shoes. So the same, okay, get a clean brush, get some burnt sienna, burnt sienna, right? And then try to clean out the brush and use the paint on your paper and pull it out, okay? Now, because this part, he might receive some sun over here, right? And so I picked this is the darker part, and then I'm going to leave that alone for now, okay? And then we're going to go pick up some more burnt sienna and do this part of the other. Now, I mentioned Sister England a lot, and she, many years ago when I was drawing with her, actually, she teach me a lot of tips about drawing, and she, you know, I realized that, you know, the form the shape is very, very important, okay? And so the drawing is very important. But this part, you know, very honest, to be honest, learning drawing takes many, many years, okay? And so many practice all the time. And so, but with this channel, I'm really just teaching watercolor, not really with drawing, not really deal with the drawing part. I might have a little bit that, though, that you guys can go check it out, okay? Now, so we're gonna let all this dry for now, okay? And I'm still looking at my phone, and my phone keep wanting to shut down on me. And I think what we're gonna do is go do the hair now. This is synthetic brush, okay? But I'm going to change to my zero brush or the sharpest brush that you have, and we're gonna deal with the hair because now is this is totally dry, of course, in Utah it is. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm going to go clean the brush really clean and go pick up the sepia pink. Okay, a very intense sepia pink. You can even dab a little bit of black, okay, if you wanted to. And then we're gonna, you know, you want it to do up and down motion, okay? When you do this, we're gonna create a shadow of his hair. Okay, now you can see a shadow. Well, we just did. Okay, let's do a shadow right here. Okay, so what it is just you almost put a line there. I would say a very sliver of a triangle, with this part being the bottom of the triangle part, a little bit bigger, okay? And then let's do that, okay? And so I'm out of pigment, because with this brush, the problem is because it's so small, and that's the beauty of it too, it doesn't hold a lot of pigment. So we need to, you know, keep getting, you know, coming back to the paper and get more pigment. Okay, now you can see that over here, there's a little triangle, right? And then as it go up, then it become a line. Okay, you can do that, you know, some here and there, but don't do a lot, okay? Now, over here, I would need to explain a little bit. If we get a tendril of his hair coming out here, it look more realistic for some reason. Okay, and so I just did that. I just kind of painted it over there, okay? And then we're gonna come up here and do a little bit of a line. And then we quickly come back and still need to soften that line, okay? Now, this is when we actually will kind of, you know, there was a divot over here, but now we're gonna fix that and make that more rounded, okay? You can see that, right? I just kind of rounded it. Now, over here where the sunburst, remember I talked about the sunburst? Okay, oh, there's a drip of water over here. We be careful about those, okay? There's still a little bit of sepia pigment over here, okay? So we're gonna just here and there add a little bit of a darker intensity of hair over there. Okay, now I'm dipping in to pick up some more pigment and do a little bit on here. Now we don't go in, and also we don't go in and try to do a lot of these. Like, we don't want to go and paint every single strand of hair. But if your original painting, the original layer had a little bit of a problem there, you know, like you felt like, I don't really like this, then this is the time when you can come in and use this second layer to kind of, you know, help you cover up. Like this, there's a little area over here, right? And so if I didn't like the first layer that I did, now is the time I'm barely touching the paper, and then put a second layer on there. Okay, and then, but don't work on it too much, you know, just put a little bit of a layer, or else, you know, the sepia from the bottom will try to escape. They do that. Watercolor does that, and you know, that's just the characteristic of watercolor, right? And so we don't fight it, we just work with it. Okay, right there, and that's enough. Okay, I might want a little bit of you know, pull this out a little bit, but I still want quite a bit of the light and white over here. And then when you step back, you can see that this head is more rounded, especially after you put some more shadow on the bottom part. Okay, now I know that we all like to pick on our painting, and so I'm going to just do a little bit of darker over here, little bit of darker down here, and then when I stop, we all stop. Okay, let's not I think this is very perfect. I study the Tissot painting because he's a watercolorist that paint the life of Christ, and you know, it will be good, you know, with the whole painting. I can see he put 3 layers. Oh, just put one remark, okay? Now, if you want to put, I'm going to use burnt umber right now, okay? Burnt umber is darker brown. Now, if you just be sure that if you want to put some brown in here, like you say, I want his hair to be not sepia, but a little bit of brown in there, okay? So I'm going in to pick up some burnt sienna again, the flesh color, okay? Now I'm going to put it over here. I can do that when this is dry. A little bit over here and a little bit over there, okay? But, you know, with this, you know, because it's a beginning painting, I don't even want you guys to do that. So, but do not ever put the burnt sienna closer to this area, because what it will do, because burnt sienna has a little bit of flashy color, if you try to put it over there, the problem is it will make it look like he has a bald spot. Because you're looking in and you see, if you see white, then you think that's sun is a highlight. But if you put some burnt sienna or brown over here, then you will think that he's bald. And we don't want to do that. Unless you do. If you really want to do that, then go ahead. But, okay. Okay, now we're going to get the burnt umber, which is a darker brown color. Okay, just a little bit on this small brush, okay? Okay, I'm going to change brush in a second so that you guys know that you don't have to. Now, what I'm like trying to paint right now is a shadow. Okay, I put quite a bit of pigment, and so I'm going to dry the brush, clean it, dry the brush, no pigment, and pull that shadow out. Why am I doing that? It's no difference than this, okay? We're just trying to make his hand look cylinder. Look like a, you know, a cylinder instead of, so I just take some burnt umber and I put a swipe over there, okay? So that will give you the wrist, right? The shadow of the wrist area. Okay, I think that right over here, this part, we need, like, from his thumb, the side of his thumb, that's in the shadow, to this part of his palm in the shadow, we need to do that, okay? We need to go back to use the burnt umber and make it darker so that it's so that it will be consistent with, you know, him being a human while he was on this earth, and I mean, you know, like a human form, right? And so I just put some shadow, and I don't want the sharp line. So what I'm gonna do is I do the same thing, okay? Come and soften the outer side. Not soften both sides, because the inside you want it to be sharp, but soften the outer side so that it looks like burnt umber is actually a really hard color to work in detail because it's so sedimentary. Okay, so right there, and that is enough. That is enough. Maybe I put a little bit over here just to show that that is part of the shadowy area, okay? And that will be enough, okay? And then I'm going to put over here part of his hand right there. And so I don't feel like there is enough burnt sienna, so I might mix the burnt sienna with the burnt umber. When I say mix, I mean dip that on both. And then I'm going to like create a little shadow, right? There has to be a shadow right there. Shadow right there. While he's touching, and the pole actually will give his hand a shadow. Like put his hand in the dark area, okay? And then some shadow over there. Over here. actually a swipe over there. I hope I wasn't out of the camera. If I am, I'm sorry. And let this part be in the shadow, okay? And then if I didn't do a good job, I am actually pushing it to not pick on this too much, okay? Okay, so just leave that shadow area right there. And then I'm going to use some burnt sienna and make the flashy area a little bit more flashy. Okay, and I'm going to push that. I'm going to just leave that, okay? So, and now let's get onto his feet area. To his feet area, and then what we are going to do is put a little bit more shadow over there, and that's it. So use the same brush, and now my brush was a little bit wet, a little bit too wet, okay? So what I'm gonna do is dry it a little bit and just go pick up the burnt umber. Then be careful about the fold. Now you really and then the bottom area right here, of course, it is a little bit shadowy, okay? So we wanted to do that. Be careful about the fabric area. It will be nice if we will take a little time and make sure that when we are putting the shadow is right under the fabric, okay? Like as I say, we because you guys are not pushing for the time, then you can just take your time to do this, okay? To put the shadow. Now, because of his ankle, the ankle area, that there will be a little bit of a triangle over here with the shadow, and we wanted to do that. So this area will make it looks like, you know, make the form looks more three-dimensional, okay? And then soften it a little bit. Soften that a little bit. Okay, and as for now, we're gonna leave that, okay? Just leave that. And if I wanted to, which I probably won't, I can come back and, you know, make the shadow more intense, but I think that's enough because consider that doing human, okay, so there's still a little triangle area right there, okay? And we need to make sure that we paint that and leave this area a little bit more fair. And what I was talking about burnt umber is a color that is, it has so much sediment in it. It is a little bit hard for us to like play with it or paint with it, because what it does is it actually affects the paper because of its now because this is mainly in the shadow, so we kind of wanted to be sure that this part is a little bit darker than the one that's in the light, okay? So burnt umber, like I'm laying down some burnt umber, right? And then I'm going to quickly come in with a clean brush and dry, and not too dry. It doesn't have to be too dry. And then soften this part, right here. So create more of a shadow. But the burnt umber actually would actually make little tear on the paper and make it a little bit hard for us to, you know, to play with it for too long. So, but we can come back, like if I'm saying that I'm telling myself I need to have a stronger triangle right there. Then I'll come back with my burnt umber, and then I will say, okay, let's drop some more. When it's dry, then you can do that. But when it's wet, you play with it a little bit and you need to leave it alone, okay? Okay. All right, so as long as you have some shadow on the different form, then it will be great, okay? And so, mainly, the body of this wanderer or the savior is done. And now, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna do the more watercolor-ish part, okay? What it is we're gonna do the put some shadow and some background and some background, yes. And so I'm doing a very simple background because, you know, time constraint, but go back to the flow brush, or we can use the, you know, I think this is about now size number 6. I'm not sure. So we're gonna maybe use this brush, just change it. This is my happy dot, okay? And we're gonna do a little bit of green, like he's walking on a kind of greenish grass area, and I'm gonna use my, as most of you know, my green mix. And so what I'm gonna do is just pull out some indigo, a little bit, and mix it, like, and then dab it into my prylene. Okay, and I'm going to do, like, this is just laying the color down, okay? And then quickly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly clean the brush on my bowl of water or whatever you have, and then dry it, and then pull this color out. Okay, now you can see that because there's not a lot of detail, you know, in this area, I'm very free and fast, and free and fast with it, okay? Just pull this color out. Now, this color doesn't have to always have soft line. It can soft and harsh, soft and harsh line, or fine line is fine, okay? And it needs to go all the way to that area. Okay, pick up some more prylene green with my brush and do it over there, okay? Okay, and then we're gonna, you know, like, you know that when I do background, I don't really worry too much. I just slap down the color. Slap down the color over here. Okay, make sure it go all the way up here. Just a little bit. Okay, and more green. When I grab more green. Okay, don't worry that when I slap down the color, it seems quite intense, okay? I will come in and soften it right away with a clean brush. The same as what we've been doing the whole last hour, okay? Almost an hour, not quite yet. Okay. And that's it. That's the ground color that I'm going to put in, and I'm going to let it dry just a little bit, okay? Now, actually, what I'm going to do is use some more prylene green and do a little bit more over here. The reason is I'm going to come in here and put shadow down, okay? Now, the thing is, now we have this white area that we say, oh, that is the highlight, right? But in order for the highlight to show, then we need to have a very faint layer of the green color, assuming that he is actually really walking in a forest. You can do a grove, but I'm going to do just a little bit of a branches over here, okay? So now I clean the brush and pick up some of the same color as this. Some prylene green mixed with, I look like I am defining the line a lot. Now I'm just using the background, but I'm not. But I'm not, because I am coming here and soften it up again, okay? And just pulling the color out, and some of the color can actually go into his clothing. That's the beauty of the background, okay? Oh, I want his shoulder to slope a little bit more, okay? Not so strict, because that would not be, okay? So I make it to slope a little bit more, slope down. If you can't see it, I will do it a little bit better for you guys. You know, I just changed that. I want his shoulder to slope down a little bit more. Now, his shoulder on this side will be a little bit up higher because he's holding the staff. And so you can see with human as we're walking. Now, this is part of the fun before we go into that side. I'm going to do a little bit prylene green and just kind of dot it and then pull it out, okay? Just to give it a little bit more color and to practice that fun dropping in watercolor thing that we like to do so much, okay? We can, at this point, actually use some sap green, because sap green in the painting kind of indicated that there are vegetation around, okay? And so now I was explaining about this shoulder. The reason why we need to be a little bit more up is because when we're holding something, as we move around, the muscle kind of flex or tense a little bit, okay? So this side will probably be a little bit higher than that side. Just a little bit, not a lot, okay? And what I'm doing is I just lay down the color, okay? And then I'm gonna pull it out and soften it. It's best that the line does not show that much, but if it show a little bit, it's fine, okay? And so you indicate now you're using the background to bring up the shoulder. Now sepia paints like to come out, but that's okay. I don't worry about this thing. I just kind of put some water to erase it. Okay, and so let's put some brighter sap green over there to indicate that he is in a, you know, in an area where there is tree or bushes, and and then I'm going to use that to bring out that area a little bit. Okay, you can see that I just put a line there, and then I pull out the color. Okay, how's that? Yeah, some of the sepia is trying to leak onto his shoulder, and so I'm just gonna scrub that off. Okay, scrub that off. That means a clean brush, and just using it kind of like an eraser. It's not as good as an eraser, but it's good enough. You know, some paints, you know, all different paints act differently. Some paints, now that's more almost indigo, just the indigo color. Okay, I'm just using that to, you know, just kind of give him a background. But I need that in some area, and some area we don't. You know, that's just the way I like to do background. Okay, and then kind of pull the color out with big stroke. We don't have to worry too much now anymore. Okay, and same over here. You know, just give his clothing a little bit of a sharper line, and then pull that color out around his hand. Okay, and you can see that there's a form, right? Because there's shadow, and then there is lighter area. I'm gonna try to invite Sister England to come and watch us, but you know, she is very, very old, and I shouldn't say that. Sorry, Sister England. And so maybe she's tired. She probably not gonna come. Oh. You know, for my sister, you know, people in this channel, they know about Sister England. They know about some of my neighbors. You know, I talk about you guys all the time. Not in detail, not with names, except Sister England. She likes that. She likes that I talk about her name. Okay, now over here. Now we're gonna just let this area kind of dry a little bit. You can put some vegetation over that area, but you know, not really necessary. And you're just like, wow, Kathy, you just slapped in a lot of paint. You can do that. Just quickly come back with a clean brush and then soften it. Okay, and just soften it, and then maybe put a little bit more, just indication of there's something over here. Okay, let's stop that. Don't pick on it too much. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to first just use a clean brush, okay? And then I go pick up some indigo. This area is my indigo, okay? So this is how I pick up the color, just like that. Just have a little bit. With watercolor, it is very, very important to don't use too much. It's a totally different than acrylic. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm creating a shadow, and you know that this I'm going to come in and soften it. Okay, and just soften that color and pull that out. Okay, pull that color out. So that's his one foot is casting a shadow, and now I'm going to do the other one. Okay, the same way, pick up that indigo paint and use that shadow, and use that as a shadow. Now, but right up to the skin of his flesh. Okay. And just let the shadow go. And then you can, you know, you kind of, what you do is you anchor him to the floor. Now, blue is bright, so I'm going to pick up some Pink's Gray and just kind of just drop it in here while it's still wet. I can do it when it's dry too if you forget, okay? Don't have to stress out. There's a very, very sharp line right here, and I just soften that. Okay, so you anchor the savior. He's actually standing, and we want to anchor his staff too. Unless you're thinking that his staff is in midair, you know, when you can using the walking stick. But I wanted this to be anchored, so that's just a slight touch of indigo. Now we suddenly anchor his to the human eye, his staff is on the ground, stick to the ground. I really don't like the way I lose my voice. Oh well, but it is what it is. If it never come back to the original form, that's okay with me. I'm not going to stress and worry because it's been, what, 4 months and it's still... Now, I kind of wanted to soften this area. This is just bugging me a little bit. But yours might not look like that, you know, so it just, you know, I wanted to do that. Okay, now I'm going to... Now, this part is also more loose. And I'm looking at my phone so that, because I have a picture here of what I did. But you guys can actually, if you wanted to do, there's a very famous Korean artist. He actually had, of the LDS church, he actually had a tree going up in the background. But, you know, I know that I wouldn't have the time to do that. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just loosely, very, very loosely, okay? I can either use the sepia or I can, let's use the burnt umber, because I'm going to give these paints, you know, when you bring your dish to church, when we paint, okay? So you will have some black color and burnt umber, okay? Burnt umber and black are very good to make kind of branch, but I'm just kind of suggest that, okay, you can see that I put my paintbrush on the side, you know, and then I'm just kind of bring out. Now this white part is kind of fun, actually. The Chinese call that the flying white, okay? And it's very much liked and want. But what they do is like they actually one brush and hope that some white will actually come out. And you know, I kind of have to adopt it to the, you know, to the European, okay, the branch. And that's all I'm gonna do with, I mean, that's all the branches I'm gonna do, okay? And then, because this, we want to focus like really on Christ over here. And so we're gonna just soften this, okay? And you can see, as you soften the black and the burnt umber, you know, it's trying to separate, which is quite pretty. Okay, you can see that this is suggestion of the branch. Okay, this is what we call the loose watercolor to suggest that there is, you know, something over here, but we don't really see it. And if you wanted to, you know, I'm just like doing this as I'm thinking. You can actually put some of this, you know, it's kind of like you see it and you don't. You know, the lost line and the fine line, right? You've lost it and then you find it, lose it, lost it. Oh. Okay, you guys love me, and you know, after all this year in America, I'm still, you know, struggling with grammatical mistake. Okay, now so that's it. Don't do too much, okay? Because then you don't want to spend so much time making a tree away from the Savior, right? And so I'm going to like very, very loosely, okay, come here and with a clean brush, okay, that, you know, and little dam, I'm going to pick up I don't really mix color on I'm going to just like kind of dab over here, and you know, I'm just gonna put those color, I'm just gonna drop those color in. Okay, and you know what, I'm going to come and soften it. Because I really, really don't want people like to like, you know, fix their eye on here, on this area. So I want it to be as soft as I can manage it. Okay, so I'm just softening it. Okay, so it's suggestion of there is some branches and vegetation over here, but not to the part, not so much as to distract you, you know, from this area. Okay, we're almost done. Now, I don't assume that our sister will be able to finish this in that 1 hour that Anna is gonna let us do. And so that's why I make this video, so that I can share it with my YouTube people if they like this kind of thing, and also share it with you, so that you can have it, and then you can just, you know, pause it when you're home, just do whatever it takes. And so I'm going to have some vegetation over here, but without the branches, okay? And so the same thing, I'm gonna have a clean brush and come over here. This is prylene green. I'm gonna kind of pick it up. And this is what this is suggesting is, not only is there a tree here, he's kind of walking through a grove. Okay, a little bit more pigment of the sap green. I really like sap green. And then we soften it, okay? Soften it so, you know, okay. If you really want to, you can also do some of the burnt umber and black, you know, and just kind of slightly put a branch here. But ever so slightly, because, you know, with your eye, you know that that is the branch because of this area, okay? But this is, I want to push this one back. When something is like really muted and less detail, it looks like it's more back, and this has more detail. Okay, and so I'm gonna do a little bit of the a little bit of this brand, so I'm dropping some color. Don't worry, you know, even though it looks sharp, it's not going to be sharp because I'm going to really use my brush. This brush I had used it for almost 30 years. That's how good those Chinese brush are. They just really Chinese water brush, they just really stay with you. You can use it for a long time. But of course, when you're used to a brush, even though it flare out, you know, a lot. Okay, so that suggested that there's some little, and then maybe a little bit over here, and then I will say goodbye, okay? Now, just last time, show you that's how I pick up color and just slap it on there for the background, not for the the main focal point, okay? And then I put some prylene green. As I'm softening this area, I'll tell the sisters, you know, this is my green color mix that I have through the years of experience put together for my painting, and they all can combine very, very well together. And they suggest vegetation, plants, and leaves and whatnot. Even the ground I will put less. I wouldn't put sap green on it, but I don't know, I might bring this with me because it doesn't look too gross, right? And so it's closer to the ground. I would like to have a little more prylene green, okay, over here, and then you can actually have it meet the ground, okay? And if you want some branches, you can do that, but I don't suggest it. I think this is enough. And so let me look at it and see. I think this is it, okay? And thank you so much for being with me here, and I hope the editing of this is not too long, and I will have this paper and the drawing, but the drawing for my YouTube friends are going to be find this post. I don't know what I'll call it, the name, but it will have the drawing there ready for you, okay? And so if there's any question, you guys of course can try to contact me on YouTube, or as for the sister, you know where to find me. I hope you do. And so you can ask question. I hope you really, it is very productive to watch through this, and it helps you to understand as I proceed what you're supposed to expect, okay? And so this is it, and I'll do an intro, and that will be it, and I'll love you guys. I will see you in the next painting, okay?